In the oversaturated market for DACs and amps, it is often difficult to find the right product. With regular releases, promises of amazing sound, and praise for each and every product, it can be an uphill battle to sift through the muddled nonsense. Now, we have one more product to evaluate in the ever-growing pantheon of options. This is the Xduoo XD05 Bal.2. Just rolls off the tongue. It is a portable DAC amp which retails for around $430 and in price alone rivals dedicated desktop options. The folks at Shenzhen Audio sent the 05 Bal.2 for review. As you know, Shenzhen Audio is among a few retailers that specializes in hi-fi gear. IEMs, DACs, amps, portables, headphones, streamers, cables. This company carries a wide assortment of gear for your lustful eyes. Check them out if you're shopping to satisfy your addiction. Now, let's dive into the 05 Bal.2, which, for the sake of my sanity, I will refer to as the 05 throughout this review. If you do a bit of research on the 05, you will quickly find that it comes from a line of similarly named products. Xduoo has regularly updated this product line, culminating in what we have got here. The newest 05 is packed with features. All of these are supposed to make this product, according to Xduoo, comparable to desktop amplifiers. The 05 uses dual ES9038Q2M DAC chipsets. This component is also found in the Topping EX5, SMSL SU6, the AudioQuest Dragonfly, and a number of other products. Xduoo claims that on high gain, the 05 can provide up to 1.5 watts at 32 ohms. This is 500 milliwatts higher than the first version of the 05 Balanced. Unfortunately, Xduoo does not currently have a manual for the 05 Bal.2, so I do not know if the 1.5 watts is achieved through external power. However, I reviewed the first version 05 Balanced manual, which does not mention anything about needing external power for its 1 watt output. And so if we extrapolate, I guess we can assume that we don't need external power to achieve 1.5 watts with the version 2. Along with the traditionally low THD and high SNR numbers, the 05 Bal.2 comes with typical DAC filters. This portable supports every audio format, including every flavor of PCM, DSD, Bluetooth, and yes, MQA. The Bluetooth connection is for reception only. Xduoo includes a bass boost switch. They have a graph measuring the difference with the AKG K701, and evidently there is a noticeable alteration with bass active. Moreover, the 05 has changeable op amps. Those who like fiddling with these things will find this to be a welcome addition. As for physical design, the 05 is very similar to its older brethren. It is a fairly heavy device, so carrying it in your pocket may not be a wise decision. Nevertheless, the 05 is solidly made, cast out of aluminum, and it seems robust. The front panel contains a single-ended quarter-inch out, alongside a balanced 4.4mm jack. There are also the power, gain, and bass switches. The OLED screen is bright and provides clear, legible information about the connection, filter, resolution, and battery level. The right shoulder houses the scrolling volume barrel. It has a bit of resistance and is slightly recessed, so there should not be much danger of accidentally changing the volume. On the other shoulder, there is a small recessed button layout to activate Bluetooth, select among PCM filters, and choose the inputs. Near the back of both sides are large black windows that do nothing. You know, at first I thought this might be a secondary screen, but it isn't. Lost opportunity, I suppose. Also, on the top of the device right above the logo area is a detail that looks like a microphone or speaker grill. Xduoo does not mention this, and I could not find anything online to explain what this is supposed to be. The back panel houses the 3.5mm auxiliary in and out, the USB in, the AES in, a separate USB charge port, and an optical coaxial dual input port. A small switch also lets you designate whether you want the Xduoo to charge, run by battery, or use external power when connected to the DC input port. The packaging contains an AES cable, 3 USB cables, a USB-C to USB-A adapter, a 1/4-inch adapter, tools to remove the housing to access the op-amps, 2 replacement op-amps, and some rubber feet. Unfortunately, Xduoo did not include a carrying case, which would have been a good addition considering the size and number of accessories we have to keep track of. Ultimately, the Xduoo Bal.2 is a beefy, chunky portable DAC amp. While it is not really pocket-friendly, it is small enough to, transport. It contains a wide assortment of connections, purportedly has some astonishing power for a portable device, and is well accessorized. For every DAC or amp review, I conduct the same tests. Simply listening and making judgment calls is not enough, as subjective impressions alone can be incredibly misleading. On the other hand, looking just at measurements can give a false impression of knowledge when you have not actually used the device. I combine measurements, when available, with subjective listening impressions, but I make my listening tests as repeatable and science-backed as I can. This is why I painstakingly conduct A/B comparisons, explain what I did, and encourage others to do the same. To that end, I tested the Xduoo in multiple phases. In Phase 1, I used the Xduoo as one of my go-to devices for several weeks. I plugged it into my desktop, laptop, iPad, and iPhone along with my LG V30 and Windows computers. I listened to high-resolution lossless files, streamed lossy content, and consumed a variety of content. I used numerous headphones and IEMs through both the balanced and single-ended outputs. The idea in this phase was to determine if the device exhibited any odd behavior, incompatibility, or defects through regular use. In Phase 2, I compared the Xduoo against some alternatives. This included the Low-2PAW S1, AudDirect Beam 4, Topping EX5, and the Matrix Mini I Pro 3. I plugged each device into my Windows and Mac systems and sent signal to 2 DACs at once using Voicemeeter Banana on Windows and Multi-Output Device on Mac. I plugged the single-ended output into a passive A/B switch and used various headphones and IEMs to conduct numerous hours-long comparisons over several days. I tried to volume match using the built-in amps of the devices and through system volume controls. The goal was to determine if the Xduoo presented an obviously different sound from its competitors. In Phase 3, I plugged low and high impedance headphones into the Xduoo to figure out if the device could drive them. I used dynamic and planar headphones and IEMs for this portion of the test. Now, remember, Xduoo does not provide any measurements for impedances other than 32 ohms, which leaves a big question about a wide swatch of headphones. Throughout all of this process, I use many headphones and IEMs. This list includes the Focal Elex and Utopia, Beyerdynamic DT880, Avantone Planar, audeze LCD2 Classic, LCD1, Allo S5X, Moondrop Aria, Tin Hi-Fi T2, 7Hz Timeless, Final Audio B2, and others. I strongly encourage people to conduct these types of true volume-matched A/B tests at home. For about $25, you can find the necessary off-the-shelf components to create your own test bench. If you want less reviewer and fanboy BS, I think you need to establish a reliable, repeatable testing method that mitigates against audiophile nonsense. Let's now delve into the results of these tests. In Phase 1, I used the Xduoo as my go-to device for several weeks. I had it connected to my desktop computers, took it while connected to my LG V30, and used its Bluetooth. I listened to both lossy and lossless music, and consumed a variety of content, both streaming and through physical media on my sources. The idea was to determine if the Xduoo exhibited any problems during this testing period. And the short answer is no. The device connected immediately to my devices. My Android and iOS devices recognized the Xduoo as an external device and automatically sent audio through the USB connections. Xduoo says you may need to download a driver for Windows, but my Windows 11 PC found the Xduoo without having to download one. I never heard any distortion or popping noises while using this device. There is a noticeable shift in volume and bass when those buttons are activated. Altering volume through the barrel controller is smooth and easy. However, sometimes I accidentally press the buttons on the opposite shoulder because of the way I grip the Xduoo to turn the volume. Those buttons should have been placed somewhere else, which was a complaint about the first generation of the Xduoo Balanced as well. However, I never encountered any oddities while using the Xduoo. It worked flawlessly throughout my time with it. Now, on to phase 2. Recall, this is where I compared the Xduoo against several alternatives using a consistent A-B volume match setting. I keep repeating this, and I have to do it here as well. Volume matching is critical. When one device is louder than another, our perception of clarity or slam or detail will be different, even though nothing else has changed. Further, if we take our headphones or IEMs off between switching devices, that will alter our perception as well. And trying to listen for differences through memory is a very faulty process. It is a physiological fact that our short-term memories, especially for sound, are unreliable. So, having a passive A-B switch and sending signal to 2 or more DACs at once is crucial. If our tests do not implement this at the very least, then any conclusions we reach are going to be fundamentally unreliable, no matter how much we swear we did or did not hear a difference. So, with all of that out of the way, the Xduoo sounds exactly like its competitors. That is to say, it is a clean, clear, transparent DAC amp. These companies can reduce THD as much as they want, but it will make no difference. Humans cannot hear THD below 1%, so it doesn't matter that this year's DACs have lower THD levels than last year's. On the other hand, the Xduoo bass boost does in fact alter the sound. The bass boost does work and makes a perceptible difference. From my tests, I got the impression that most of the emphasis is in the lower bass. I'm guessing, but I think the boost applies about 4 to 5 decibel increase. There's also a minor loss of clarity in the bass region when this is active. I compared the Xduoo to my hifi Zen DAC for their bass boost. To my ears, it seemed that the Xduoo applies a little bit more emphasis than the Zen DAC's boost, and the Zen DAC also sounds a little bit clearer when its bass boost is active. Let's turn to the last phase of my testing, where I paired a wide variety of headphones and IEMs with the Xduoo. In high gain, there is no doubt that the Xduoo can drive most headphones. Dynamic or planar headphones, it doesn't really matter. This device can handle them. My T1 2nd Gen got plentiful amplification, even though it is a 600 ohm dynamic headphone. All of my planar headphones from Audeze, Monolith, Sennheiser, and Avantone had no trouble receiving sufficient amplification. But I think the Modhouse Argon did not quite get the suggested minimum required power. Recall, Modhouse says that the Argon should get about 1 watt. I put the Xduoo to high gain and turned the volume to maximum, which resulted in the Argon getting a little bit louder than my personal comfort level, but not ear-piercing. And frankly, I thought that the Argon remained a little bit muddier than it typically does. In short, the Xduoo can drive nearly anything you've got. Specialty headphones like the Argon may not perform as well as you might think, so be mindful of your gear pairing here. Finally, I should touch on the PCM filters. Look, PCM filters kick in above the audible threshold, above 20 kHz. They don't do anything audible. They're talking features, not useful tools. The Xduoo filters are no better and don't offer anything to this debate. When companies release updates to a product line, they need to be careful. It doesn't make financial sense for the company or end user for the newer product to replicate what the older already does. The audiophile world is full of repetitive gear, stuff that does what is already accomplished without adding anything useful into the mix. Xduoo still sells the first version of the Xduoo Balanced. When you compare version 1 to version 2, you see there's little difference. The most obvious alteration is that the second version has 1.5 watts, while the first version has 1 watt. Everything else is pretty much the same. Strangely, Xduoo is selling both products for the same money. And I'm pretty sure that if you gotta pay the same price, you might as well get the one with more power. right? I mean, doesn't that make more sense? My bottom line is that the Xduoo Bal.2 is a very good device. It is transparent, it is well built, it has a useful bass boost, it has plentiful power, it has a plethora of connectivity, it supports every major audio codec and resolution. Xduoo says this is a desktop rival, and I think I have to agree. I really don't want to hype this, but it is worth comparing to anything else that's in the market relative to the Xduoo 05 Bal.2. I mean, there are portable DAC amps which cost a lot more but provide less features. And of course, there are desktop DAC amps that provide not nearly the number of features that this portable device does. But don't think that you need to get the 05. That is not what I'm saying. If all you want is a reliable portable DAC amp without all the frills, you've got plenty of excellent options, many of them well under $100. If you don't need the connectivity or resolutions that the 05 offers, then it's just a waste of money in my opinion. On the other hand, if you want a true portable replacement to a desktop unit, then the 05 Bal.2 makes a very strong argument in that regard.